Stats are for losers.
Welcome, everybody, to Statistically Speaking. I'm Kyle. With me always is Blinkin, and we have a special Red River rivalry or shootout or showdown or whatever you want to call it. We have a special guest with us today. He is known as Fifth Down College Football on Twitter. He is actually in the middle of a nationwide tour of sorts of hitting up all the best college football venues. He is known as a rivalry expert. So I thought it'd be great to bring him on for this week's episode since the big game is on Saturday.
I'm great. How are you guys? I'm a shootout guy, by the way. Shootout for a Red River Shootout, so that's cool with me.
Yeah, shootout is what everyone likes. I don't know. I really don't know why they changed it. I guess politically incorrect to suggest shooting of any kind, even though all Big 12 games are known as like shootouts anyways. I don't get it. But whatever.
Nobody gets it.
Who knows? I'm a shootout guy too, so.
I do like the alliteration though, so I will be using rivalry in all the hashtags on Twitter.
Yeah, that does have a ring to it, that triple R.
Yeah. So kind of explain exactly what is this like tour I've been seeing all over Twitter. I see you at all these great spots. You're on like you're on the field with for big matchups. Like, how are you doing this and why are you doing this? Explain what's going on.
Yeah, this is a big national book tour is what it is. I'm writing a book on college football. My contention is that college football is inseparable from American history and culture. You can't tell the story of the United States after the Civil War without talking about college football. It's far more than just a game. It's a folk game. It's a people's game. It's about region, family history, athletic history, and then it also plays into our national history from our world wars to our integration of our universities to everything else. So this book is kind of about everything, and what I'm doing is I'm going to all the best games around the country, the best rivalries, most historic teams, stadiums, and I'm using all that as jumping off points for the bigger story about the United States. So I love college football. I always have, and it just came time to write a book. And I'm kind of doing it now because the games were kind of on a revolutionary moment, and I think the game over the next 10 years is going to look a lot different than it has over the first 150. So 2021 just became a great year to do it.
Awesome. So it's okay. So the book's made. Like, where can people find this book?
Yeah, when it's done, I'm still working out. I may self-publish because self-publishing has become such a viable route to get your book directly to your audience and have a lot more control over it. So I may, yeah, I mean, I have a treasured copy of your famous volume on my bookshelf. So
nice.
You know how that is. So I may sell it to an agent if that's what works best for me. If not, I'll write it. And follow me on social media at Fifth Down or at my website. Drop your email, and I'll be letting everybody know where they can get that book when it comes time to buy it. But for now, we're just having fun this fall all over the country.
Dude, Mark, it sounds amazing. So where exactly are the best games this year, in your opinion? Like, where are the top like three you're trying to hit up or that you've already hit up?
Yeah, I've already had some really good ones. The first 2 weeks, I mean, we started out hot. Week 2 is going to hurt a little bit, Kyle, so sorry about that. Week 1 was LSU, UCLA, and that was a big upset.
Oh, that was a great game.
It was a great game. It was a ton of fun at the Rose Bowl. And then the next week, I was in Fayetteville when the Hogs knocked off the Horns.
I missed that one. I was out of town. I didn't have a TV.
Yeah, well, that's all right. Don't go back and watch it. You won't like what you see. But that was
this podcast. Pick that game right. I don't remember who it was, but
someone did, huh?
Yeah, someone did.
So this week is actually one of my big ones. I haven't been to a Triple R, Red River Shootout, so really looking forward to this. Army, Navy later in the year, Ohio State, Michigan. Washington, Oregon was one I was really looking forward to, but unfortunately the Pac-12 is they're doing what they always do to themselves, which is playing themselves right out of the national conversation. So that one's not looking as good as it had looked. But Florida, Georgia is another one I'm looking forward to. So we got a bunch of great games coming up. Ole Miss, Alabama last Saturday, which was I thought it was going to be a little bit better game, but anytime you're in Tuscaloosa for college football, it's a lot of
Yeah,
fun.
yeah. So this is your first Red River game, right? You
Yeah,
said. Okay.
yeah.
So Blinken, what does he need to know when walking into the state fair? Like, what does he need to have in his mindset to have a great time there? What should he do?
Okay, so first off, they don't take actual money. You have to like trade money for like fair ticket money,
Shrimp
and
bucks.
and then you have to buy. And I'm pretty sure they like price everything in like prime numbers, so
Right.
nothing adds
Yeah.
up to an actual like full book of tickets, and so you
Right.
always have some left over. Anyway,
Perfect.
first thing you do is you go in, you get you some tickets, some state fair currency, uh, and you get a wax cup of beer for
Okay.
one,
Yeah,
and then you find the Fletcher's corny dog stand.
I've heard this.
That is step 1 and 2 in my book.
Okay.
What about
Okay.
you, Kyle?
Well, there's always random places, random companies promoting something, promoting the game, promoting the company with some swag. A couple years ago, I got some badass bead necklaces with like a big logo of the game, that year's game on it. So those are always fun. You can just find like towels, flat, whatever.
Yeah.
There's someone giving out something. You just got to go find it if you want it.
Can you
So
trade
little
those?
souvenir.
Can you trade those beads for a wax cup of beer, or are those not currency? Is that fungible?
If
I believe
if
that's
you're
a
a little
different-
better, if you're a little better looking, I would say it's possible, but I'm not sure. I've never been able to successfully do it. So
All right. All right.
Do you know where your seats are? Are you on the orange half of the stadium or the red half of the stadium?
I'm very near the middle in the lower
Oh.
bowl. I tried to get towards the middle.
I knew you would try to find the middle.
Yeah,
Good man.
that's what I'm looking for. Yep.
Yeah, it's a fun spot to be in. I've sat near the 50 a few times, and depending on who you're rooting for, it can either be
It's
real
gonna be the best.
exciting or it can get real stressful.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
I know.
I think I don't know if it was 2008 or 7 or somewhere around there. I was at a game, and whatever year it was, Texas was winning. So Oklahoma guys started like filing out because if you're getting blown out, everyone just files out, and half the stadium is full, half of it's empty. It's amazing. It's fun. Everyone's like taking pictures. It's a laugh riot. But as people were filing out, there were like people like pouring shit all over them and throwing stuff. It was great. It was awesome.
Yeah.
You have to be there.
So you know what it's like Kyle said, a lot of times especially if it's, one team is just definitely going to win the game, right?
Right.
The other half of the stadium just kind of pours out, but they pour out into the state fair, right?
Right.
And it's almost like, have you been to a wedding, right? And everybody leaves and goes outside and is ready to send off the bride and groom, right? And then they come out after. That's what it's like. The dejected losers are outside getting beer, and then out comes the winners, and they just pour out, and the smack talk just absolutely fires up. It's great.
You will see a fight. You will definitely see a fight. It's great.
Yeah, I'm kind of counting on that. The amazing thing to me is the game is almost anticlimax from what I can tell, because you two fan bases go at it 364 days a year on social media. I mean, it never.
I haven't noticed that. That's
yeah,
weird.
well, you don't participate, but others do.
That is true. There's never a day off when it comes to Red River Smack
Right.
Talk.
That's what's great.
And I love that today I got to post Blinken's famous meme that I made of him with it's almost like win-loss record in a sport that has dozens of players on each team. Impacting the results of the game is a dumbass way to measure individual performance. I have used that 20,000 times on Twitter, and it's always the same thing. It's always a Sooner saying, yeah, well, Sam Ehlinger's 1-4 against Oklahoma. And
right.
I love that I get to like use a Sooners logic and words against another Sooner. It's the best thing ever.
Yeah, it carries a lot of weight when it comes from the hated rival, right? I mean,
Right.
it's out of his own mouth. It's perfect.
And if you mention Sam Ellinger, you're gonna get 50 people that say that exact same thing. So I like to pick out which one I'm gonna put it on because they're gonna get blasted. I never do the same person twice, so if you got it once, you're not gonna get it again. But it's a lot of fun.
Hey, can I say
Twitter,
one thing about you guys?
sure.
You two are a great example for our beleaguered nation. I mean, you talk about two hated enemies coming together and finding a way to form friendship. We should expand this. More people need to know that this kind of thing is possible. You can both hate each other and be friends. It can be done.
Oh, hold up. I never said we were friends.
Well, that's true.
Just joking.
We have a common enemy in Texas A&M Aggies.
Yes, that
That's-
helps.
That helps bring things together.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so just before we get into the games, before we get into the pick'ems and all that, what are your like top 3-4 rivalries in the country? Like, I don't care who they are, just like in your opinion, like you've studied them, you are picking out which games you're going to. Like I said, which like 3 or 4 are like the best in your opinion?
Interesting question. It does fluctuate a little bit depending on eras. Like, had you asked me that question in the 1990s, at Florida State Miami would have been right at the top. Now Florida State Miami doesn't really matter, so that's kind of one that's
Right.
fallen by the wayside. I think the classics always endure. Your Alabama Auburn, Michigan Ohio State, Oklahoma Texas, USC Notre Dame. Nebraska, Oklahoma would have been on there back in the day as well. That one's gone away. Florida, Georgia. So I think they're really kind of either blue blood or blue blood adjacent rivalries, and the ones that have lasted for the longest really work. But there's a bunch of regional rivalries that don't get as much credit as they deserve. Oregon, Washington, Minnesota, Wisconsin is an interesting one.
Yeah,
Iowa,
that one, I love that one because over like 100+ years, it's pretty even. I love that.
I think it's like
I think
plus
it's dead
one
even maybe.
Badgers
Yeah.
maybe, or +2. Yeah, and it's it's
Yeah.
the longest played rivalry in the country, so that one's fairly incredible.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? There was some. Oh yeah, the Texas or the Oklahoma Nebraska rivalry. That's what I was talking about.
Yeah.
That I agree. That is a great rivalry. I'm bummed they've gotten to play like once in the last whatever decade plus years.
Yeah.
But it just goes to show you though that Nebraska is like not really anywhere near Oklahoma's 2021 level, but they came out. It was a classic battle. It was great. Like rivalries do that, and that's why this Red River game is always so much fun because even if like Texas has just lost 2 in a row before they come into Oklahoma, I know it's going to be a decent matchup.
Yeah.
Like last year, like Oklahoma started Big 12 play 0-2, come in and you would never know the way they
Yeah.
played against Texas. So
Yeah.
that's another thing I love about rivalries is it's you never know what's going to happen. They're always close, and it's just a lot of passion in it, and you can just tell with the outcomes of the games.
That's
Unless those weird years.
that's what college football is built on, are these rivalries. I mean, that's really what built the game. Another one I forgot to mention is the great Texas A&M Thanksgiving weekend game. That's another one that
It's coming back.
It's coming back. That'll be good for the game. Realignment destroys a lot, but it's starting that one back up, so that's a good thing.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, now that you all have met Mark, now that you've learned about his expertise in rivalries, let's get into some pick'em. Blinkin, you want to start us off with a couple games?
Yeah, let's go. Let's jump into Georgia Auburn. What do y'all think about this game?
Regardless of Auburn's great win against LSU the other night, I don't think anyone, maybe Bama, is at Georgia's level right now. They're just monsters on defense. They have a great offense. I really don't think this is going to be a close one. I think regardless of who they're playing, I think this is going to be a 3-4 score win by Georgia. They're just looking ridiculous these days.
Yeah. Yeah. You want me to go?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. This is an interesting game too. This is another one that I don't know if people know. That they call this the Deep South's oldest rivalry. So there are a couple that are older, but Georgia Auburn is one of the oldest games in college football. So Georgia has a slim lead, and the distance between Athens and Auburn is very similar to the distance between Auburn and Tuscaloosa. I think it's like a 20-mile difference. So for Auburn, these Georgia and Alabama are their two major rivals. And well, it was like a 40-year span where Alabama and Auburn didn't play. Auburn and Georgia played every year. So this is a passionate game for the fan bases. But I agree with what you said about Georgia's dominance. They look like they're pointed right at the SEC championship for game against Bama and maybe a playoff rematch depending on what happens. So Auburn off that emotional high and Baton Rouge, great win. I think Georgia rolls in here. If I was betting this, I'd take Uga to cover and the under, which is at 46. So I think Georgia wins by more than 14 and a half, but I think it stays under the 46.
Okay.
So Georgia has allowed 23 points this season. 23 points. It is week 6, and Georgia has allowed one offensive touchdown.
Crazy.
Is that wild? Last weekend, a previous guest, Rob Bowen, referred to Georgia as, quote, a death machine. And
Yeah.
I believe him. I mean, they look – I mean, there is not a team that I trust could score on that defense.
What about the fighting Texas Aggies?
Oh, my God.
Jimbo
They can't
Fisher.
score on – they can barely score on Colorado.
Jimbo Fisher is the QB whisperer. You need to shut your mouth and show him some respect. This is ridiculous.
But no, Georgia, like the stats are just absolutely insane. Like I said, they've allowed 2 touchdowns all season, and one of them was a garbage time pick 6 against UAB. And so, I think Georgia rolls on this one. If I had to take the spread, I'd pick them to cover. I'd pick them to. The 14 and a half is what I had too. And so, I'd take Georgia to cover that.
Yeah, they're dominant.
All right, next game. What about Penn State, Iowa?
You know, that one I think that's going to be a great game to watch. I think Penn State has this one in the bag, but I think it's going to be a classic, like Big Ten, fight it out in the rain, kind of like 10-3 at half kind of a game. It's going to be epic, hopefully. I don't really think it's going to be a blowout or anything. I think it'll be close, maybe one score. But yeah, I have Penn State in this one. They're rolling. Iowa didn't look that great two weeks ago. Penn State has continued to look great. That Auburn game with the whiteout, that was great. So I know this is away, so maybe that might play into it a little bit, but I think Penn State rules.
Yeah, this is interesting. I found, or actually I had this pointed out to me, really interesting historical stat. So this is the second ever Big Ten top 4 game that's not Ohio State, Michigan. Ohio State, Michigan have done it multiple times. Only the second time ever, teams other than them. The last time it was Iowa number 1 versus number 3 Minnesota, and Minnesota upset Iowa. That was 1960. So Iowa back in it again. I don't know if a lot of people know this, but Penn State joined the Big Ten in 1993, and this series with Iowa has been very close. I believe right now it's 11-10 in favor of Penn State. 2 tough, hard-nosed programs. They play a lot of tight games that go right down to the end. There have been some great finishes. Mm-hmm. So at one point, Iowa won 5 in a row. Then at one point, Penn State won 6 in a row. Iowa clobbered Penn State last year, 41-21. I actually like the Hawkeyes in this game at home. I think their defense is better than Penn State's offense, and I think Iowa's offense is steadily improving. So if the dynamic version of the Hawks offense shows, I like Iowa to cover the 2.5 points and stay under the 41.5, but I like the Hawks at Kinnick Stadium.
Nice.
So this is an interesting game because some of the analytics models, like especially SP Plus, actually is split, is disagreeing with Vegas on this one. Iowa's a 2-point favorite, and SP Plus has Penn State as a 4-point favorite. So I think what it comes down to is these are by far the best two defenses in the Big Ten. Maybe two of the best defenses in college football. I think what's going to be the kicker is Iowa so far right now in yards per play, they're 110th. So I think what it's going to come down to is one team's going to be able to move the ball just a little bit better. And so I'm going to take Penn State in this game.
Okay, I like it.
All right, next, Michigan, Nebraska.
Okay. Don't get me wrong. Nebraska played Oklahoma really well, but I think this game is not the same passion. I don't think they'll be up for it like they were against Oklahoma. I think Michigan's got this one.
Yeah, that's it. I didn't mention that earlier. I was actually at the Nebraska-Oklahoma game as well and saw that one in person, and Nebraska impressed me. They played a quality game. They really knew what they wanted to do, and they did it all game. If not for a couple of mistakes, who knows what could have happened in that game. So they looked good. This all of a sudden is a compelling game. Michigan has got a little bit of their swagger back. I've been impressed by kind of a hard edge that they have. The best Michigan teams when they're good are bullies. They're big, mean guys who want to hit you all over the field. And I've kind of seen that attitude in this team. So it's not 1997 Michigan, Nebraska. That would have been a great game. But it looks like two programs headed in a better direction. I do like Michigan on the road. I don't know if they're going to cover that 3. It might be closer than that. And I like the under 52, but I do think Michigan wins in Lincoln.
So, I think Nebraska played well, and I think they have a good defense. They play good on that side of the ball. They play well on that side of the ball. But so I was going back through, and we mentioned Rob Bowen earlier. His model just recently moved over from into now all of his rankings and all of his model is just data from this season. So all of that prior data like recruiting, last season performance, that kind of stuff has faded out, and now it's just this season. And as of that first ranking that came out, Michigan's offense is number 2, is the second best offense in college football. Yeah. We'll see. They're very good and they're very consistent. So I'm going to say Michigan wins this game, but I think it's going to be close. I'll take Michigan.
Okay, Blinken's trying to copy me on everything. I need him to start picking something else.
Oh, we're going to pick something different. I guarantee you.
Okay, what's next?
Next game. Oklahoma versus Texas.
Okay. No question, Texas has this one this year. I have been fooled many a time the last 2 or 3 years, but different coach. I think he will actually be prepared this time. Texas. Right? We got the best running back in the country. We've already seen what happens when a team comes prepared to stop that best running back in the country. So I believe Sark will have a backup plan, and you're going to see it on Saturday. Texas rolls in this one.
Ooh, rolls! Wow. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this one. I saw a few college game day stats, which are interesting. Oklahoma has played 39 college game day games, which is an incredible number, and they're 25-13. So that's quality. Apparently 3-3, 500 versus Texas at the fairgrounds. And Texas, 17 college game day appearances, and they're 10-7. So both teams have played well when college game day's been there, and 500 against each other. Sooners 9-3 in the last 12, which includes one Big 12 championship. Oklahoma was my number 1 team in my top 25 to start the year. I still think the Sooners are excellent, but I'm not sure they've figured it all out yet. I don't know if the timing on this game is great. I wouldn't touch this game with real money. but I do favor Texas on this line from a stone cold detached perspective and the over. And I have the line at Sooners by 3 and over under 63.5. I don't know if that's still what it is. But I want to make it clear here, nothing would surprise me in this game. If Oklahoma wins 2019, I'd say perfect. That's exactly how it was meant to go. So,
right. Yeah, it's going to be, I think it's going to be wild, fun. I think, I don't know if they'll get over 65 is what you said. I don't know if they'll get that, but
63.5, yeah.
63.5. Yeah, that seems kind of high. I don't know. It's usually not that high scoring, so
right.
Outside of like 2018. So, I mean, I hope it's 63.5 to 0, but we'll see.
So I wouldn't touch this with real money either, but I might wager some of those State Fair ticket things.
Fair bucks.
Yeah. Yeah, the analytic, like SP Plus has this as a 7.5 point margin for Oklahoma, which is twice the Vegas line, and I think that's I don't buy it. I think it's going to be closer. To be honest, this is one of those games where you can kind of throw out models and
right and
previous
stats.
stuff, yeah,
and coaching records and QB. How great a QB is. I mean, Case McCoy beat Oklahoma.
All of it. I mean, it's you never know what's going to happen,
right?
But that's what makes this game awesome. I will say, I will leave this one stat I did come across. When you look at the opposing team's success rate, so success rate on passing plays, Texas is the only teams that are worse than Texas against pass plays as far as success rate goes are UNLV, UL Monroe, and Kansas.
Hey, Kansas is the DBU of the Midwest. So
now I'm gonna say, take all the stats with a grain of salt, but
right.
Oklahoma's passing the ball more than they have in 4 or 5 years this season. Texas can't stop it to save their life.
Right.
I think that might be an edge. So I got to take Oklahoma. I got to say Boomer Sooner.
Yeah. Can I add something here that I was looking at when I was looking at this game?
Sure.
When I look at Oklahoma's defense, it's a much improved unit. I'm not sure they're quite as good as we thought they were. They're not dominant. So I was looking at like the K-State game last week. Kansas State, not generally an offensive dynamo. They were going 6.2 yards a play, 22 first downs, 420 yards, 320 through the air. And Texas's offense, they go 8.9 yards per pass attempt. So they're pushing the ball down the field. So depending on how that goes, I do see that as a critical element is what OU defense shows up here, particularly in the passing game. In that Arkansas-Texas game, when Texas afterwards decided to change quarterbacks, one thing I noticed about Texas is they were extremely complex with their passing system, and it was Arkansas's defense did not give them time to execute it. Once they made the quarterback change, they appeared to have simplified it a little bit, and now they're able to push the ball downfield a little bit more. So Oklahoma's defense, I think, may be one of the absolute keys to this game. If they can get Texas's offense off the field, Texas will really start to sputter. But if they move it, the Sooners are going to have to crank it up quickly.
Yeah, 2019, 2020, this is like the exact same scenario, exact same setup. I felt like the offense was never on the field, and the defense was they tried their best. They held them to some field goals in the red zone, but if you do that all game, they're going to start falling apart second half. So, yeah, I think you're right. Our offense needs to be able to push the ball on them. I think you're going to see a lot of hopefully a lot of play action, deep bombs, and I think they're going to bite on it a couple times because they're going to be focused on Bijan. We got excellent second, third string. I just see it. I just can see it. I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully, we'll see some of that. I really like Sark's, like you said, complexity. It's a night and day difference from like Tom Herman, where you just know the first play of every quarter is going to be like a bubble screen to the right for like a gain of 1 or loss of 4. No in between. It's either one of those. And I'm just glad we're not going to be seeing that kind of nonsense. So, and I just think better play calling with it when the time is right. No going forward on 4th, and when like a punt would be better. I'm just looking forward to just better, cleaner playing. He's at an all-time low for penalty yards. Sark is. I think Tom had several games in his tenure where the total penalty yards is more than Texas has this season. I know in the Big 12 championship against Oklahoma, I think was one of the highest penalty yard games. I think he had 130, 40, something like that penalty yards. I think we have about that much for the season right now. So I'm looking forward to just cleaner play, better play, and just all around better game. So it's going to be a good one.
All right. Let's run through the rest of these real quick. So we have Boise State at BYU.
Boise.
Yeah, interesting game. Give me BYU in that one, and to cover that 2.5. I like BYU at home.
Yep, give me BYU at home as well. Oregon State at Washington State.
Washington State for me.
Yeah, it's such a weird game. Nick Rolovich, I know the head coach is running up against his deadline for the vaxxed or not vaxxed, and whatever you want to say about that. I have no idea what that means for his future or his career. I just think he's being forced to make a choice. So we'll see what happens there. Washington State's look like a mess to me. Oregon State's kind of rolling. I like the Beavs.
Yeah, I'm going to take Oregon State too. They've been firing on all cylinders on offense. So give me Oregon State to win this one.
Yeah.
Arkansas at Ole Miss.
That one's going to be a good one. Give me Ole Miss for that one.
Yeah, really interesting game. Particularly both coming off kind of humiliating losses after a lot of hype to start the year. Neither team looked good last Saturday. I do like Ole Miss at home. I think they outscore this Arkansas offense. So give me the Rebs down there in Vaught Hemingway.
Yeah, I think offensively it's going to be too much. Give me Ole Miss to win. Give me them to cover. Last I saw was 6.5, so I think they cover that.
That's
give
what
me
I
Ole
got.
Miss.
I got 6.5.
LSU, Kentucky.
Kentucky has got this. They play great in Lexington, so Kentucky.
Yeah, I like Kentucky too. LSU cannot run the football. They are looking more confused by the moment. I think losing that game at home last week is going to take a little time to recover from. So give me Kentucky, barring a second bluegrass miracle from the Tigers. I think the Wildcats win it.
Yep, give me Stoops in Kentucky. How about Notre Dame, Virginia Tech?
Notre Dame it for me. They're going to come off that Cincinnati loss hot and ready. Like one of those Little Caesars pizzas.
I have not been impressed by Notre Dame this year. I really haven't. Virginia Tech's been up and down. I don't know what to expect in this game. Give me Virginia Tech at home. Notre Dame's favored by 1. Give me Va Tech in the outright upset at home.
Yeah, I think I'm going to take Virginia Tech too. Notre Dame, I think the opposite. I don't think they're going to come out hot and ready. I think they're going to languish a little bit after paying Cincinnati $1.2 million to come into South Bend and beat them up a little. So,
that's got to hurt.
Yeah, give me Virginia Tech.
Okay.
All right, finally, we're going to wrap up with Wake Forest at Syracuse.
The Demon Deacons have met their maker. Syracuse has got this one.
Oh, wow. Save the best game for last. I like that. Let's see. Wake Forest is good. It always takes a minute to get used to that. They look kind of good. I don't know. I like Wake to cover a 6.5 point spread. And I like a push on the over under. It's 57. I like 35-22 Wake.
Wake Forest, yeah, like you said, favored by 6.5. SP Plus has this as a virtual toss-up. I mean, basically a tie ball game. So
Wow.
I'm going to actually take Syracuse to win this one as well at home. Little Carrier Dome magic. Is that where they play? Carrier Dome?
Yeah, carry it on.
Yep.
Yep.
Little Carrier Dome magic.
There it is.
All right. What's the time for, Kyle?
Oh, yeah. It is time for everyone's favorite time. Aggie Facts.
This is how I know what day it is in the week, by the way. This is how I know it's Thursday. I wake up and I start seeing Aggie facts. I go, yeah, it's Thursday. Cool.
Okay, who wants to go first? I've got one, if y'all don't.
I didn't know I needed to have one. Where's your book? I got to grab it.
Okay, I'll go first.
Go.
This one, it's a little out there that I did not even know existed until today. The last time that Texas A&M had back-to-back seasons with a winning record in conference play was 1999 and 2000. They went 5-3 both of those years.
Wow.
You would think that they would have 2 consecutive winning seasons in conference, at least since they joined the SEC. Not so fast. Not so fast.
That is a wild number, man. 20 years without even just back-to-back, like
Yep.
5-3 seasons.
Right.
I mean, that's crazy. I don't have a fact, but let me give a quick. Someone asked me about this the other day, and it always jumped out at me. I read a biography of Bear Bryant, who coached at A&M for 5 years and had some of their best teams ever. But one thing he said about him that just jumps out to me now, there's a clip going around right now of an Aggie, might be the 12th man. He's got a microphone. He's at Kyle Field, and he's talking a bunch of smack about Mississippi State.
Yes, that is a yell leader.
Oh, that's a yell leader.
They do that every game at midnight the night before. They all fill in the stadium and taunt and dance and throw confetti. I don't know what they do, but
twirl and clap, and
there's definitely clapping and twirling.
Is this? But they squeeze their nuts on game day, right? That's saved for the game day.
Squeeze eggs. Yeah.
that is a respected ritual that they do on game days. It's safe for game days. So yeah, you don't have to practice that. That is it's like going to church on Sunday.
I'm amazed they're the only program.
Very respected.
Yeah, I'm surprised that hasn't caught on elsewhere. So the great thing about Bear Bryant is when he left A&M, he had some commentary about it, and he liked it overall, but there were some interesting things about their alumni and how they acted about their program. And one of the things he said was, it's tough. We never got a chance to sneak up on anyone because everyone over there brags too much before the game about how we're going to beat them. And I'm watching this kid call Mississippi State a dump and their football team a flaming pile of trash before the game, giving Mississippi State whatever they might, an extra boost, whatever. Maybe they didn't even see it. But then A&M goes over there and gets beat by Mississippi State, and they got to come home, and here's this kid strutting around talking about what a pile of crap Mississippi State is. Well, your football team just got beat by them, so what does that make you at this point? So it's interesting that culture is held for the last 70 years, apparently.
Well, they now have a losing record to Mississippi State, which I love because 2 years ago they had a winning record against like half the SEC. It's falling. They're going to lose if they lose to Auburn and one other, Ole Miss, maybe one of those or two of those teams. They're going to lose their winning record against them as well this year. So they're going to have winning records against like South Carolina and Arkansas in a couple years. So it's going to be great.
Maybe they should do those yells after the game, depending on what happened.
You got anything, Blink?
So I like lists of things people do better than Texas A&M, right?
Of course, yes.
So we're 5 weeks into the season, and I'm just going to rattle off some big power football schools that have scored more points than Texas A&M has this season. Okay. We're talking about Purdue. We're talking about UAB. We're talking about UTEP, Florida International, Georgia Tech, Arkansas, Louisiana Lafayette, Georgia Southern, Illinois,
Whew.
Miami of Ohio.
Got him. Oh man, that's good company. Like, man.
Yeah, I mean they're hanging in there with some powers.
Well, that's why you pay a guy, an offensive guru, $90 million to come coach your football team, right? You get
Yeah.
Offensive wizard, guru, but I've seen it all. He does it all.
He does it all, except score points.
Yes. Okay. Well, everyone, go follow Mark. You can find him at Fifth Down College Football. He has a great website and like newsletter that goes out about his travels, his book, all that sorts of stuff. And check him out every week. He's going to a different game every week this season. All great games. He posts about it. So go give him a follow. And good luck to everyone on Saturday. I will be watching the game.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on, guys. You guys are legends. It was my pleasure to be on this podcast, so I appreciate you having me on. It was a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thanks so much.
Yeah.
See y'all.
See ya.
See you guys.
Stats are for losers.